Welcome back, one and all, to the second part of the 2024 Rennies. Getting ahead of myself, Tim.
Don't get too far ahead. 2025. What's next? 2026? Not yet, baby.
Oh, not yet. We got to slow our roll because we got to talk about the best and worst movies that we saw in the year 2024 here on the Ryan Reynolds Awards for Excellence in Film. On the second half, we are talking through 5 blockbuster categories that we are shocked that we can fit into the same episode. We're talking Best Picture, Best Sound, 2 Longest, Fuck You No Way, and the Biggest Thief Award, aka that Ryan Reynolds Award for Excellence in Film. Tim, are you ready to go, or is there anything you want to say to the audience before we start?
I'm locked and loaded. I'm ready to go. I'm optimistic about the future. I feel like the children are our future, and we got to watch out for them. And, you know, hide your kids, hide your wife. You know, It's pretty crazy out here.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy out here, which is why you might need some help picking what movies to watch, which is why we are presenting you with the Best Picture Award for the best thing that we saw this year. My nominees for Best Picture are Smile 2, Alien Romulus, and Dune 2. Tim, what do you got?
Dune 2. Wow. Okay, my nominees: Kalki 2898 AD, Twisters, and Deadpool and Wolverine.
Wow, no overlap on these.
How is Deadpool and Wolverine not your best picture? Wasn't that the most fun? Didn't you have a great time there? Wasn't that the biggest event of the year for you?
I had a good time at Deadpool and Wolverine.
You had more fun at Dune 2 than you did at Deadpool and Wolverine.
I think Dune 2 was more of a... I had a great time at Dune 2. I'm not going to lie to you, dude. We went. We knew we were going. We went mid-afternoon. I was so comfy. I wore like the comfiest outfit that I possibly could. We had this big luxurious chair. We got a ton of snacks. We knew it was so long. We prepared for it adequately. And we just sat back and luxuriated in that sci-fi world. I had a wonderful time.
I feel like I cannot allow. What were your other nominees?
My
Dune
other
2?
nominees were Alien Romulus and Smile 2. The big things about those two are that they really surprised me. They really blew me away. Smile 2 specifically, I mean, both these were like roller coaster rides.
I had a shockingly good time at Smile 2. I feel like that movie, there's so many there's a basic conceit in the movie that I think is terrible screenwriting, but for whatever reason, we like it.
Uh-huh.
Like it worked for both of us. I had a great time at the movies. It was really fun. I was kind of on the edge of my seat trying to figure it out. Smile 2 is really good. Yeah. And then whatever other bullshit you listed was okay.
Wow.
So
Alien Romulus, a movie that
Alien
you enjoyed.
Romulus was all right. Alien Romulus was all right, but is it as good as like Aliens? Is it as good as Alien? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. You look, I'm okay with giving this to Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm not saying Deadpool and Wolverine wasn't great.
I feel like for me, it was definitely the best picture. I had more fun watching Kalki than I did any of the movies you listed. And I had way more fun in Twisters. Twisters was just a good time. Yeah. Maybe a little too long, but it was chill. I mean, we were talking about trying to see it in 4DX after. Like, Twisters is bad, but in a fun way. You know, Smile 2 is also good. For me, it's definitely Deadpool and Wolverine, but I would understand Smile 2, I guess, as well.
You know what? I'll give it to Deadpool and Wolverine. You know, I think like we did so much setup work for this movie. It pulled it off. It could have been so bad, and it pulled it off. No question, there was more riding on Deadpool and Wolverine than Smile 2. Way more pressure, way more expectations. And for it to actually deliver on that, that's impressive.
That's pretty good, right? Yeah. Deadpool and Wolverine, congratulations. Best Picture winner, the Rennies 2024.
This is their 3rd nomination in this year and their 3rd win, I believe.
I think so. They're on a streak. They're on a hot streak. Well, they won Best Fight Scene previously.
Yeah, okay. So 2nd win. Let's
That's
slow
good.
our roll here. All right, next one up. Best Sound. Now, we do Best Sound a little differently on the Rennies. We're not talking about sound design. We're not talking about sound editing. We're talking about the best sound effect that we heard this year. Tim, what are your nominees for Best Sound?
My nominees for Best Sound. The Boys season 4. I'm sure there are a ton of them. That whole thing, the sound on that is so good. I went with the like worm monster ripping that woman apart at the end.
Oh God.
Pretty fun. It was nice, a real random twist, and I'm here for it. I liked it. It sounded weird. One of my favorite sounds from The Martian is Matt Damon drinking grape juice and then saying "fuck you, Mars." Is one of the best sound bites ever. It makes me so happy. I'm a huge fan. I think another amazing sound that was kind of the soundtrack to our summer, Kevin, the sound of Wolverine's claws coming out.
Oh,
iconic, wow. Crucial. You know what it means. It's exciting every time. I feel like it was a super important sound and sound effect for the summer. And then I think if it's not that, I think one of the most important sounds we heard this year was Like a Prayer from Deadpool and Wolverine. I think that came back a few times. It was so good. They played it to like the biggest moment. They played it when he put it on his mask, which is maybe the biggest, most exciting thing I've seen all year is the Wolverine mask. I thought that was so cool. I love that song. It got a huge play on there. It was big on TikTok. Like a Prayer's got to be there for me too. So those are the best sounds I heard in 2024, Kevin. What about you?
Those are good. I like those. All right. We might have a fight on our hands because I think you're going to like all three of mine too.
Ooh.
Number 1, from Twisters, the line, "This movie theater isn't built to handle twisters like this." It's like a cheat code that you get to drop that in. It's not since Top Gun Maverick, the scene where John Hamm says, like, I don't know whether to court-martial you or make you the captain.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible trope work here. I could not believe what I was seeing. Another one from Twisters, "Ain't No Love in Oklahoma."
Oh,
that song
ain't no love in.
rules.
That song slaps, dude.
I drove around for a straight month just blasting that afterwards. It's so much fun.
It's so good. An incredible movie.
Oh, it's incredible. I also, on the Twisters note, this isn't one of my nominees because I was sure it was going to be one of yours, is "If you feel it, chase it." You've adopted it as your catchphrase.
If you feel it, chase it is so good. I think, yes. Yeah, there's so many great sounds in Twisters. Do you have any more nominees coming from Glenn Powell? Because I feel like thinking back at Hitman, pretty much every fun accent Glenn Powell did was an incredible sound. Yeah. Just have to acknowledge all of these. And then they cut to the one where he's like a Russian mobster with like straight hair and like big teeth. And they're like, he's trying to sell a boat or something. And it's like, these are amazing. It's a masterclass in goofy voices that he sells the shit out of. Damn it. Glenn Powell deserves all the awards this year. 100%.
He does. But there's one other one, and I might fight for this. I think I declared this best sound on our first podcast of the year. Wyatt Russell in Night Swim, "We Have a Pool."
Oh, yeah.
That line ruled.
Yeah.
Massive reaction in the theater. People cheering. So good.
Yeah. That's really good, Kevin. I think that might be the number one contender. It was so big. It was so impactful. I mean, it crushed in the theater. It's one of the most absurd line deliveries I've ever heard. It's one of the most absurd lines I've ever heard. Gosh, that's wow. Oh, we have a pool.
So good. Look, and
so
if
good.
I feel like maybe just playing it might have robbed it of a little bit of its like contextual significance. To really get the effect of this, you got to watch that first like 40 minutes of Night Swim to build up to this point, because you got to understand what you're in by the time this hits.
You have to understand like how boring this thing is. And then for this line to come out of left field, my God, you're right. That's it for me. That's the winner, Kev.
Oh, the winner of Best Sound in 2024 from Night Swim, "We Have a Pool." Incredible.
I just typed that out and I put an exclamation point at the end, and then I remembered I'm deleting that thing, putting a period.
Yeah.
That is not an exclamation. There is no excitement in that delivery. It is a blissful wonder. It's fascinating, Kevin.
He's just
So
seen
good.
the face of God, and that face is a pool. Tim, next up is the Two Longest Award. Now, this is the award for the movie that was most impacted by its extra length. The movie that would have been improved the most by chopping off that extra 20 to 30 minutes.
All right.
What do you got for this one?
You want me to kick it off?
Yeah.
Two longest for me, in ascending order, I guess. I put Madam Web. I think the whole thing can probably, I mean, I don't know. I'm not convinced there's a good movie in there, but
Sure.
every second of that was too longest for me. Dune 2 and Furiosa, I put in a similar bucket where they're just, I mean, Dune 2 I liked a lot more. I'm not sure. I feel like there's still some stuff you can trim off of Dune 2 and make it a tighter movie. Furiosa, I really hated. But I think if you knock an hour off of Furiosa, it's a palpable watch. So that's my argument for it. I think my top two for this, Kevin, like you suggested earlier, Monkey Man. Monkey Man, there is a shorter edit of Monkey Man that is a fire movie. That is top tier that we were talking about, like it's John Wick. That Monkey Man is, I think that extra 25 minutes is the difference between what happened to Monkey Man or what could have happened to Monkey Man, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think that makes the biggest difference. And then I also got to nominate Kalki 2898 AD because that is a long one. And all of the time that Probus is not on screen is insignificant in the big scheme of things. Like, just get the Probus. Every time he's not on screen, I'm like, okay, so what the fuck are we doing right now? Why is this happening? Get to Probus. What's happening? The first hour of the movie, I'm like, is Probus even in this movie? Have I missed him? And then he shows up in a glorious fashion and it works out. But
when he shows up,
I didn't need so much of that movie, but man, it delivers though. It's a fun movie. It's a fun ride. There's a lot of awesome action, but Probus is the key, and Probus is, treated like the fifth member of the cast. So, got to nominate those two.
Just in case, I mean, listener, look, I know we used to be like you as Western audience members, not watching a bunch of Tollywood stuff. And then our lives were changed by RRR. And we've gone down a rabbit hole with the help of some of our Indian listeners. And oh my God, of these movies, look, RRR, unassailable masterpiece. But the best singular actor that we have seen so far from Tollywood is Probus. It's no question. This is one of the most charismatic human beings I've ever seen on screen. It's wild. He can do everything.
Yeah.
Worth checking. I mean, Kalki ruled. Kalki 2898 ruled.
Kalki ruled.
But worth checking out the Bahubali movies too, just because they're just a showpiece for him. It's amazing.
They're wild. The Bahubali 1 is good. Bahubali 2, I think, is awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome action, over the top dumb. And it's wild once you get into the right mindset or mood for Tollywood, where the actor could just start singing randomly and it's fine. It's not like a musical. It's just, for whatever reason, we're going to sing now. And then also it's going to be comedy. And then also it's going to be drama. They shift so quickly from like almost genre to genre that finding a guy like Probus who can do it all is really, I mean, he's a multi-hyphenate to the fullest extent of that term.
Yeah. Fully.
I love him.
He rules.
I love him more than anything.
Same here. My nominees for this one are Beetlejuice. We discussed it on part 1 of the pod. I feel like Beetlejuice had some stuff that was a really fun sequel to the originso movie, and it was bogged down by all this extra stuff in there. There was wheat. There was also a lot of chaff. So that's my number 1. My number 2 is Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. They are the closest they have ever been to locking in the perfect formula for these movies. They just need to take the Tim Keck advice and get the humans out of here. We just need no humans. Dan Stevens can stay. Everybody else needs to get the fuck out.
Amen.
And my final nominee is also Furiosa. What happened with this? This seemed like it was going to be an incredible cinematic epic. We saw it on the biggest screen possible in a packed room full of disappointed people. It just absolutely did not pull it off for anybody in that room.
I think my only beef with the movies you suggested is I don't necessarily think any of them were good enough, on its own. Like, even if you get a good cut of Furiosa, I'm like, I don't know. You get a good cut of Beetlejuice, it's still going to be like, why is Beetlejuice just not important in this, right? Why is Monica Bellucci just not important? You cut her and Throw out, then you really just have Lydia flirting with a ghost, and then Beetlejuice saving the day for no reason, and that's kind of it. Still have full. You'd have to leave in the full sequences to singular songs where they just dance and sing a whole song for 5 minutes. That's actually a quality part. But yeah, those are interesting, Kevin. I don't know. What do you think? What speaks to you the most?
I don't necessarily want to give it to Kalki because I'm thinking like, look, Kalki's a part one, and my argument in general for the Tollywood movies is if you're gonna do a 3-hour movie, it better be a Tollywood movie where it's an awesome thing with a break in the middle and it's amazing. You can watch it in 2 halves. Although I don't think Kalki had an intermission, did it?
I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong.
And then the other one is do it like Dune 2. Like Dune 2, I knew was going to be an epic going into it. I was prepared for the 3 hours, and I never felt burdened by that 3 hours in a way that like fucking like Lincoln, like, do we need 3 hours for all these historical dramas? If anything, we need to do less scene setting than usual because this is actual history. So
we've had feedback from listeners too, I think, especially on YouTube, of us being like, is 3 hours really that long? And I think maybe there was a time where I didn't think so, but I mean, I'll tell you what, 3 hours is long.
Yeah.
If you're not expecting it, 3 hours is not good. And more now, I think also on this pod, we like editing is like such an important part of the craft of filmmaking. And I think there's a lot more stuff that's left into these movies that would make them way better if they could just trim it a little bit or sneak some stuff down. So, I mean, man, I thought for sure you were going to nominate Monkey Man because you nominated it earlier. And
I did think about it. I'm good with Monkey Man.
I feel like that's the one that would, if that could potentially be an amazing movie.
Yeah.
If it's cut. The other ones, I don't think I really have any other one. Even Kalki, it's like, there's still good stuff in there. Dune 2, Furiosa. I don't think any of those elevate the way Monkey Man would without, these
stock
boring training sequences. And just I forgot all this the weird drug sequence for no reason. Yeah, just a lot of weirdness in Monkey Man. But I don't know. What do you think, Kev?
Yeah, I say keep the temple, cut some of the training, cut the wildlife footage, give this to Monkey Man.
Let's do it, Monkey Man.
2024.
Congratulations, the 2 longest award, Monkey Man.
What I think is ironic about that category is it's also the longest we've spent on one of these so far.
That was 2 longest.
That was 2 longest. Let's move on to the next one. This one is fuck you, no way. Tim, do you want to explain the mentality behind this one?
Fuck you, no way. The kind of thing where you see it in the movie and you think to yourself, fuck you, no way. Right? Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. Something that takes you out of the movie because you're just like, no, come on.
So should I kick this off, Kevin?
Yeah, what do you got?
So for La La Land, the opening sequence where they're in a car, and I realize slowly in horror that each car has a song and each song is a story. And then the entire group gets out of their car and does like a coordinated dance on the highway. I thought, fuck you, no way. Like I'm out. I'm like, I am going to fucking hate this. It was such a devastating blow to a movie that I thought was going to be the Ryan Gosling. Oh my God, terrible mistake mixing those two people up. Ryan Gosling redemption tour was La La Land, and that was, for me personally, that was a fuck you, no way. No, thank you. I'm out.
Yeah, that's
My
a fuck you,
second-
no thank you.
That's a fuck you, no thank you. That's a fuck you, no thank you.
Oh my God.
In Andor, the guy who orchestrates the jailbreak, who he has to convince to do it, gets to the top of the jail cell. It's surrounded by water, and he goes, I can't swim. And he stays, he doesn't jump. Fuck you, no way. Like, what do you mean? You planned this whole thing and you don't know how to swim? You couldn't find one thing that floats in there that you could just carry up to the top with you? You couldn't just tell a friend, hey, I can't swim. Also, Andor just leaves him. It's like, tell him I'll pull you out. It's fun. It's just water. How hard is it to do that? Just float. Hold your breath. Winnie the Pooh it. You know, you can teach a kindergartner to float, and we can't teach this old man to float for 5 minutes while somebody drags his ass out of there. Fuck you. No way, man. Fuck you.
Don't babies actually float, though? Isn't that like a thing where like babies for a certain amount of time after they're born, they float?
This better be true, or else babies can swim. Babies can swim right away. They got a nice, they hold their breath underwater. They can float. And I used to teach like mom and tot classes where it was like, 6 months, 6-month-olds, and they could float and they could grab the side of the pool. And in Florida, that's enough, man. If a kid falls in, I think it's super important. Genuinely, if you have a child right now and you're in a place that has any sort of standing bodies of water, you should definitely teach them how to swim at the very least, because there have been stories of little kids falling into pools, floating on their backs until they get noticed by their parents or whoever. Bad things happen. I think actually teaching people to swim is very important as somebody who comes from Florida and is constantly surrounded by water. So that's just a little heartfelt note. And also in another heartfelt way, didn't love Andor and fuck that guy. Fuck that situation. He can't swim. That's crazy. Fuck you. No way. Okay. This is my favorite one though, Kevin. This is the nom. Is in Madam Web, Dakota Johnson at the end when she shows up in the wheelchair and she's blind and she's like, I know you got Chinese food. I was like, fuck you. No way. Fuck you. Why? This sucks. I was so mad. Oh, she's just like got psychic powers all of a sudden. It's like, you didn't have this before. What's going on now?
What psychic power she had is the ability to smell.
Common sense.
Jesus.
Oh, wow. When you sent them out to get Chinese food earlier and they came back, they probably had Chinese food, didn't they? Thank you, Madam Web. This is great. Finally becoming the character we thought you were the whole time. Such a bad movie. So uninteresting. I mean, we haven't talked enough shit about Madam Web the whole time. Like, that is...
We really haven't.
Definitely the worst movie I saw this year, I think, in hindsight.
I got myself a seat in the back row of the theater so that I could just bet on FanDuel the entire movie. I was just doing NBA live bets the entire time.
That's the move.
Insane, dude. Ah, God. I'm so glad that Sony never did the proposed Aunt May spy movie. They just really seem like they're out to like fuck around with anything they can that Marvel might not touch. Although that said, we are recording Spider-Man. This before. Yeah, I mean, we're recording this before either of us have seen Craven.
More than Sony does.
That's true.
Sony fucking hates Spider-Man, and they just want to do everything they can to hurt his legacy and damage the franchise. Sony hates him.
Yeah.
Disgusting. Doing all this Morbius bullshit. They got Vulture now. Fuck them. Craven, I'm excited about, though. That trailer looks good. That's a shoe-in for best trailer, worst movie. That trailer looks cool. I'm back in on Craven, dude. Man. I'm ready to get hurt again. Aaron Taylor-Joy, an underutilized heartthrob action star. I'm in on him. Kevin, fuck you, no way.
Here's my nominees. Number 1, some of the hits Ryan Gosling takes in The Fall Guy. Look, you go out of your way to show us that this guy has back problems at the beginning of the movie. I have back problems. Then we see all the other stuff that happens to him. I can guarantee you, he would just be crippled. Like, I don't care if he's landed on a soft pad. Hitting a soft couch hurts. No way. Absolutely no way to some of the stuff that he's doing in this movie. Number 2, this one was really on the bubble for me, but after a lot of careful consideration, I decided to nominate it because it did really strain credibility in the moment. Is Timothée Chalamet becoming truly the Lisan Al-Gaib in Dune 2? When he is on that stage and he is arguing to everybody that they should follow him, all I'm thinking is how hardcore the lives of all these guys are. And it's like, this guy, Timothy Chalamet is the one, the kid from Lady Bird. Like, this is the guy that everybody's like, this is the Lisan Al Gaib. I don't know. I mean, I guess you got, what's his name, like vouching for him too, but
he's the guy that embodies the female gaze.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's necessarily the person you want rallying a group of men soldiers to like go to war necessarily, you know?
Sure.
I agree. He's just, I think that's a tricky thing with like adaptations too, because in books, it's very easy to be like, well, the scrawny kid grew up to be a powerful warrior. But on a movie, you actually have to show it. And Timothy Chalamet looks like the same scrawny kid he looked like at the beginning. He's not winning wars, that kid. That kid is crying and losing wars.
Yeah. That
kid is crashing drones from the safety of the USA.
I will say that, I mean, he embodies kind of the flawed idea of a white savior that they're portraying in the movie, where him embarking on this war is going to get a lot of people killed because he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. So he nails that aspect of it. But they're in that moment, they're not supposed to be putting somebody in place to do that. They're supposed to be putting somebody in place that's going to win this war for them. And that's Timothy Chalamet. I don't know, dude. Fuck you. No way. My third nominee, this one bothered both of us immediately in theaters, is when the symbiote monster jumps from Mexico to an airplane flying over Las Vegas in Venom 3. It is a cutback to a scene that cannot possibly have still been going on. It's crazy. They definitely cut footage that they already had of the monster jumping from a previous scene that should have been like 3 or 4 days earlier in the movie. And then we're like, we could just have it be the same jump. So he jumps from nighttime in Mexico to like midday plane over Las Vegas. Crazy.
So crazy. There's a lot in that movie that's fuck you no way, but that's a very good one, Kevin. That was great. What are you thinking? How are you feeling about these categories so far? Or these nominees?
I feel pretty strongly about the Venom jump.
I think so.
You think you want to give it to it?
I feel pretty strongly about that. I feel very strongly about the Madam Web thing too.
The Chinese food line.
Yeah. There's a lot to hate about both of them. So you know what? I think either one would make me happy.
We haven't, Madam Web deserves it more. It's kind of like when people give an Oscar to an actor just because they're in their 70s and they might not do another one when that movie isn't really what they should have won it for. So we should be doing that for Madam Web right now, because we'll never have another chance to nominate a Madam Web movie. So Fuck You No Way goes to the final scene in Madam Web.
Yay, Madam Web, you did it.
You did it.
Finals. Madam Web. Yeah, that was how they ended the movie. Oh my God.
Absolutely insane.
Gosh, that movie sucked.
Boy.
It was so bad.
Well, Tim, we got one award left. And this one is The Biggest Thief, a.k.a. the Ryan Reynolds Award for Excellence in Film. Should I kick it off?
Yes, please.
My nominees are Probus from Kalki 289880.
Yeah.
Glenn Powell from Twisters or from The Hitman. Take your pick.
Yep.
And finally, I believe the first time he's actually been eligible, Ryan Reynolds, the man himself.
Huh. Has Ryan Reynolds really not won it before?
I don't think he has. I'll run back through my notes here real quick from previous years, but I really don't think he has.
I could have sworn Ryan Reynolds has been nominated before, but maybe I'm making this up.
James Gunn won in 2021.
James Gunn won.
2022, the winner was
Top Gun Maverick, I think.
2022, I believe the winner was Top Gun Maverick. 2023, the winner was John Wick, I believe. John Wick 4.
Yeah. Oh, man. I think I've nominated him before in 2021 because of Free Guy and Red Notice in the same year. But that's a big stretch. You're right. I think. So explain what's going on with Ryan Reynolds. Why does he deserve to be the biggest thief of the year?
I mean, look, it's Deadpool and Wolverine. This is a culmination of a franchise that he basically willed into existence. Never before has a person portrayed a character in a movie that went down in flames so badly and then gotten the studio that made that horrible movie to not only sign off on a standalone movie with him playing a different version of the same character that people weren't familiar with pre-multiverses, but also to give him the reins of that franchise and do it the way that it should have been done. He did that. It was such a massive hit. He brought it back for a second incredible smash movie. And then he pulls not just Hugh Jackman out of retirement, but he goes back and gets Jennifer Garner, Daphne Keane, gets Channing Tatum the chance to play Gambit that he never did.
Yes.
And puts aside his own beef with Wesley Snipes to get Wesley Snipes to return as still to date the only person to ever portray Blade in a movie. I'm not counting out Sticky Fingers from the TV show. This is such an unbelievable heat check in a way that 2001 Ryan Reynolds could never fathom. And it's unreal, dude. Everything he touches is gold in this world.
I mean, Mobile's doing well. He just has everything going
Mobile's
for
doing
him.
Great. The movie Spirited was great.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Maybe I'll watch it. Maybe I'll check it out.
Good.
He did do that. He did kind of have a flop with like If or something, right? That Wishing, the imaginary friend movie.
We're not talking about that. We're not talking about If right now.
I think we are on the same page with this. I also nominated Glenn Powell and Ryan Reynolds. I think those are our guys for the year. Glenn Powell, 2 hit movies, current, incredible, showed his range, has gone down in my mind as just one of our greats.
Yeah.
And Ryan Reynolds, this is the culmination of his career so far, being Deadpool, which again was not going to even get made until he leaked the footage of like the test screenings, and people liked them so much that he did it. He bet on himself multiple times. He does it in Deadpool 3. From what I've heard, him and his team are very, very hands-on in this. Like they are, like Ryan Reynolds is in the editing room, making changes, thinking of jokes. They're punching it up the whole time. It's very clearly his vision and what he wants to do. And you're right, his star power and his friendships. He was able to cash in all these chips and bring all these historical people back. And I think that is not to go unacknowledged. My other thoughts on this was Hugh Jackman. For us on the pod, we did a big rewatch of the X-Men franchise. The X-Men franchise is Hugh Jackman, for better or worse. It is it is him. He is the main attraction to these stories. We did all the Wolverines for the pod. He was huge. And then this movie really works because Hugh Jackman is in it, crushing it as the best version of Wolverine. Yeah. I think the argument could be made that Ryan Reynolds is the reason Hugh Jackman is there and crushing it as the best version of Wolverine. So I think Ryan Reynolds is still our guy, but I have to acknowledge Hugh Jackman for just crushing it. And he was very important to our pod this year. And then also just wanted to shout out 20th Century Fox.
Wow.
Because Deadpool Wolverine is like a celebration of, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, the bad movie Ryan Reynolds was in. It just seemed like that was a whole love letter to these properties that are no longer going to coexist together and are now going to be a part of the MCU. So I thought that was a pretty big deal as far as, these movies that we love and care about are. But yeah, I think it's for the first time ever, the king himself has come to collect his crown. And he's here for it. The Biggest Thief, a.k.a. the Ryan Reynolds Award for Excellence in Film. I think it belongs to the man himself, Ryan Reynolds.
It's Ryan Reynolds. Wow.
Let's do it. Congratulations, bud. It's been a long time in the making. Glenn Powell, I feel bad, but he's going to have other years.
Yeah.
We have not heard the last of that young man. He'll be back.
No. He's precocious. He's definitely going to be working his way back in to the Rennies.
For sure.
In the future.
What a hell of a year. I feel good about our list, Kevin. I feel great about our winners, Kevin. Best actor, Glenn Powell. Horniest moment, everything Tyler Owens did. Glenn Powell getting a lot of love on the pod this year. Best fight scene, Deadpool and Wolverine fighting the Deadpool clones. Incredible. Best trailer, worst movie, Borderlands. The Arby's Biggest Beef Award going to Borderlands for having too many keys. It makes no sense. Best Picture, Deadpool and Wolverine. Best Sound, We Have a Pool. Two Longest, Monkey Man, Fuck You No Way, the final scene in Madam Web, and then, of course, the crowning achievement, Biggest Thief, a.k.a. the Ryan Reynolds Award for Excellence in Film, going to Ryan Reynolds.
What a
year, Kevin.
What a year. That's the Rennies. Tim, it's always a pleasure to do this podcast with you, man. I truly enjoy this.
Always a pleasure. It's a lot of fun. We're going to keep doing it.
We are.
Might be a little different next year, but maybe some new categories. We'll see. But we're going to keep it up, keep on keeping on, and I'm excited to do it.
Yeah. Listener, thank you so much for being here. As always, we couldn't do this without you. I mean, we could, but it wouldn't be as much fun. So just thank you very much for listening to this podcast now and over the years. We will be back here again next year. Our first movie up is the original Paddington. So if you need something to watch in this next week that we're off, throw on Paddington. We'll be off next week and back after that. And until then, Happy New Year and stay nerdy, everybody.
Happy New Year. Stay nerdy. Bye.